Welcome to Mind Over Matter. Today's guest, Gregory Thelian, is an award-winning Boudoir photographer and speaker who has helped countless women see themselves in a new light. Through his transformative three-day experience, Gregory goes far beyond the lens. He helps people rewrite their self-perception, heal old wounds, and step into confidence and worth. His upcoming book, The Problem with Self-Help, challenges the quick fix mindset and points us towards deeper, lasting change. Welcome to the show, Gregory. It's such an honor to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, Anya. I'm super excited for this episode and love to answer all of your questions today.
So, Gregory, your work is rooted in self perception. Why do you believe it's the key to lasting transformation?
It simply is. I mean, like, if we don't know ourselves, then nothing else we do is really going to translate well. If you listen to like all these other like self-help books and self-help podcasts and everything, a lot of them really just stick to tactics, which can work. They can be beneficial. They can be helpful, but only if you have a firm understanding of yourself first. If that groundwork isn't there, nothing else is really going to stick. And I've been through it myself. I've tried all these things, I've tried all the habit forming books and everything, and it didn't stick when every time I fell off, I just kept beating myself up saying, I'm not good enough. So it's like once you change that self-perception, once you get past that part of I'm not good enough and I am actually good enough, then everything else starts kind of falling in place in your life.
Yeah, 100%. So, can you share a powerful story where someone's view of themselves shifted in front of your camera?
Man, yes. So I have one really clear example of this, and this really kind of changed everything for me. So my experience, it's like a 3-day experience that I put together for my clients. So it's not just like a photo shoot and then I send you digitals and that's it. And the third day of my experience, what I do for my clients is I actually set up a private photo gallery for them. So this is really kind of a changing point for people because they're not just seeing like a pretty picture of themselves. They're seeing physical evidence of who they actually are. And I had this one client who was breaking down in tears after seeing her portraits, and she started whispering something to herself, and I couldn't hear it like at first. So it's like I walked up to her, I'm like, what are you saying? What are you saying? And she's looking at her portraits, tears are rolling down her face, and she's saying, I'm worthy. And at that moment, I knew that this was so much more powerful than I ever thought it was, because in that moment, she realized her full self-worth. And this client, she went through so much growing up and so many bad relationships, so much abuse, and pretty much anything negative you could imagine this poor woman has been through. But at that moment, she truly saw herself and she really felt all this worth in these portraits. And that's kind of like the power of portraiture, because it's not just me telling you something. It's not like, oh no, you're an amazing person, please believe this. It's me actually showing it to you and forming that strong connection where essentially cognitive dissonance kicks in. So it's like that old self-value that you held of yourself is now being challenged by this new, better version. And you're just forced to accept that better version because it's right in front of your face and it's real, So once you kind of create that shift in your mindset to something that truly is real, that ended up changing everything for her. And she got out of her bad relationship. She moved out. She's living on her own. She got her own job. She's so much happier. And it's just insane seeing that type of life-changing experience being able to happen through photography. Because at the beginning, I thought it's just photos. How could it be life-changing? And it can be life-changing when you infuse it with all this meaning and when you actually do it in a proper, structured way to create that end result of a life-changing experience.
Yeah, that shows so clearly that when perception changes, the entire story of a person's life can shift too.
It really does. And it's kind of striking because it seems so simple of a thing. It's like, oh yeah, just change the way you think about yourself. And it's that easy, but it's not easy at all just because of how life treats us. So even though it seems easy on the surface, it's like, yeah, change your self-perception and you change your life's direction. It's a lot harder in practice, but yes.
Yeah. And many people try self help but end up back where they started. What's missing in those approaches?
So once again, I kind of touched on this a little bit. What I found is a lot of these books give you the tactics. So they do give you good information, good things that can help you. However, they completely forget about the foundation. So it's essentially they offer all the help, but they completely forget about the self. So it's really up to the individual, the reader, to do all that self work. I'm trying to help people through starting figuring out how to do all this work on yourself. And a lot of it is based off of introspection work. So doing introspection work really can change everything for the better and give you that strong foundation. And then all those life hacks, all that extra good advice can start actually working for you because now you have this newfound worth for yourself. And once you have that, then yeah, everything else just starts to click and everything else begins to actually stick.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
And how does your work bridge that gap, like between motivation and true lasting change?
Yeah. So what ended up happening for me is I've been doing this type of photography. I've been doing boudoir photography for 10 years now. And I got to the point where I started realizing that I was getting consistent results with my clients where they were having these kind of breakthroughs. And a lot of change was happening for them. And I kind of did some introspection work on myself and kind of looked back at my process. And I started to try to figure out exactly what was going on and why it was working. And what I found out was I essentially, without fully realizing it, I baked in a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy elements into my process. So there are things like cognitive reframing, cognitive dissonance, and anchoring that are fundamentally baked into my experience. And because of that, that's what really creates that change. So it's not people looking at photos of themselves and saying, oh, yeah, I look pretty. It's people looking at photos of themselves and just all of these feelings of accomplishment and who they truly are resonate and shine through in these portraits.
Yes, that really highlights how change isn't about surface level fixes. It's about the reprogramming, the way we see ourselves at the core.
It really is. And it's doing all of that core work to figure out, like what's really going on in there. And yeah, like you just said, like once you kind of figure that out, then everything else just clicks.
100%. So, photography might not seem like a healing tool to some. How do you use it to unlock confidence and worth?
Yeah. So the way that I do this, it's really kind of based off of like the first day that I set up with my clients because listen, I could have anybody come in front of me and we could just do like a 1 hour photo shoot and you'll walk away with good looking pictures, but you're not going to walk away with kind of like a long lasting experience. So what I do on my first day with my clients is actually an in-depth consultation and a process that I created called the personality reveal. Okay. What this is, it's really just a set series of questions and prompts that I guide my clients through, but it's systematically structured in a way where it truly does get to the core of who you are. And it even goes deeper than that, Anya, to kind of uncover the essence of what makes you you. So once I kind of have that good understanding of who you are, and it's not me telling people like, oh, this is who you are. It's them telling themselves. So it's just like a guided introspection process that I created for them. So they're giving me all this information, but it's like once I have that crystal clear picture of who they are, then I could capture that side of them. So essentially what we're doing is we're kind of unlocking that inner voice that's inside of them. And then we take the photos of that and then show it off in the most extraordinary way. And once people see it firsthand, that's what really creates that change.
Definitely. And have you noticed like certain themes or fears that come up again and again when people step into your studio?
Yeah, everyone is scared. Everyone's kind of intimidated in some ways because boudoir is a type of intimate photography. And also, a lot of people aren't ready to open up that much and just be introspective. But I make it as easy as possible for my clients. I guide them through every step of the way. So a lot of the times it's just hard for people to break out of their comfort zone. Doing this type of photography, doing boudoir photography, it's an intimate type of photography. And a lot of people are intimidated by it. But once they kind of step into it, once I kind of guide them through the experience, especially after that day one, after that in-person consultation, we really get to know one another. And that kind of breaks all those kind of like issues or roadblocks that people might have, because I'm just answering all their questions. And once people start feeling comfortable with their photographer, then from there, it's all just like downhill, because we kind of shine this light on who they really are. And now they're excited to see that. So, kind of like the biggest issue that people deal with is just first me being a male photographer doing this. And once they kind of get over that, they understand that like, this is what I'm doing as a profession. This is my job. This isn't like, cause there's a lot of creeps out there, who do this for nefarious reasons. So I always have to kind of overcome that hurdle. And I just do that simply by sitting and talking with people and showing them exactly what this experience is all about.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Like it turns a photo shoot into something deeper, a mirror of possibility.
It really is. And honestly, when I first started getting into photography, when I first heard about boudoir photography specifically, I was just like, okay, like all these photographers are talking about how it's a life-changing experience for their clients. But I'm like, how? Like, it's just photos. And it really didn't click for me at that time until I started doing it for my clients. And once I started doing it, I'm just like, this is the only thing I could ever do, because I get to be creative, I get to have fun, and I get to make people feel better about themselves. So it's really just such like a win-win. And yeah, a lot of people don't see photography as being like a therapeutic option, but it truly is when it's done in the right way and when it's done with that intention firsthand. So a lot of people are just doing photography to create beautiful photos, and that's amazing. You could totally do that. My main focus is using photography as kind of almost like art therapy, but we're using it as a tool to help people feel better about themselves.
Absolutely. And self-perception can be heavily shaped by trauma or like abuse. How do you help people begin to reclaim their identity?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I am not a licensed therapist, but my process truly is therapeutic. And I have to say that because the results I've been getting have really transformed people who have gone through certain traumas growing up, certain abuse, sexual abuse, and it's horrible. The stuff that a lot of my clients have been through is truly heartbreaking. And the way that I heal them, if you would, is I kind of help them just figure out that voice that's inside them that's kind of been silenced. So that's why doing introspection work is truly beneficial, because that helps start to identify who that person is inside them. That that voice inside that's been pushed down because of all these life experiences, because of trauma, because of abuse, because of just life in general, even because of just the mundaneness that some people go through because now they're mothers and they're doing the same thing day to day. Even getting past that could be challenging because they lose touch with who they are on the inside. So I help people kind of rediscover that voice, and then we actually capture it. It's like once we identify it, now it's like, okay, there she is. Here's how we're going to do this. And then we build out an entire photo shoot that's focused just on capturing that side of themselves. And then once they see it, that changes everything, because now it's actual proof. It's like, holy crap, it's like that voice that was inside of me. There she is. And she's amazing. And that's why a lot of my clients break into tears when they're looking at their portraits, because for the first time, a lot of them are just seeing this side of themselves, and creating that connection is truly powerful.
Definitely. So, what role does vulnerability and like safety play in making that transformation possible?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like, you can't do this if you're not willing to be honest. Like, honesty is more important than everything else, because being vulnerable, you could kind of overcome that part, because that's just a fear, and a lot of people are afraid of opening up, being vulnerable in that situation. But if you just focus on being honest with yourself first and foremost, once you're able to do that, then you can be honest with me. And once you're honest with me, you're very easy, able to overcome any type of vulnerability. And it's very easy for my clients to open up to me. I used to do like a quick 20-minute phone calls with people. I'd let them just call in, book a call with me, and these calls would normally go on for like an hour because they're just opening up. I don't know what it is about me 100%, but people find it just insanely easy to open up to me. And I love it because I'm here to take that information and use it in a way that serves you. I use it in a way that serves my client, that benefits them. But yeah, it could be completely scary being vulnerable in front of a photographer, especially a boudoir photographer, because it's not that we're asking you to be more intimate. And I mean, some of them do, and that's the wrong way of going about it. I always help my clients, kind of like go past their comfort zone, but I never push people beyond their limits. So I only do whatever my clients are comfortable with. And once again, it's all about kind of getting down to like that inner voice that's inside of them and capturing that. And a lot of the times it just happens to be that a lot of people want to be desirable. So that's the side that we tend to capture most often, because once you feel desirable, it creates a lot of power for you. It's like when you have that feeling of like, oh my God, yes, like I'm wanted, you feel so much more powerful in your life. So yeah, vulnerability is a huge part of this, but it's something that I make my clients very easy to overcome.
Yeah. And that answer underscores the truth that healing isn't about perfection. It's about feeling safe enough to be seen as you are.
Yeah, it really is. And you just gotta find the right person who makes you feel safe, sadly. And like, this is also like why we kind of go through like so many different like self-help books or therapists even. It's because we're constantly searching for that one person or, that one book that feels right to us. And a lot of times it's hard to find that, but I love to think that I am that person for my clients. Hundreds of women in the past agree that also, they find it just very easy to work with me. And I make it very easy to work with my clients as well. So yeah.
That's great. And if someone listening feels trapped by negative self-perception, what's the first step towards rewriting their story?
Yeah. So once again, I truly feel that where most people need to focus more on first outside of like anything else is really introspection work. So I want to give this entire audience one question to kind of think about, but I really want you to think about this question. I don't want you to answer it right away, but the question is, who are you without all of your roles and all of your titles? Okay. Because it's so easy for us to get caught up in, oh, I'm Gregory James Thelian. I'm an award-winning boudoir photographer. I do all these talks and podcasts and everything. But it's like, that's not who I am personally. It's like, that's who I am in the work side, And so often than not, we use that to identify who we are. And a lot of times, women will simply just identify themselves as being a mother. And it's like, you're so much more than that. It's like, who are you? And really think about that. Really kind of keep asking yourself, why do I identify this way? Why am I feeling this way about myself? And the answers really are within you and they can come out of you. I help facilitate those answers. That's where I come into play. But a lot of this could be done on your own. And once again, just really get to that core question, like answer that. Who are you outside of your roles and your titles? And eventually, if you keep doing this work, you'll find your purpose. And that's what happened to me. I ended up finding my purpose. So it's like, who am I? I am somebody who wants to help other people. I heal people through creative photography. That's who I am. And it doesn't matter if I'm getting paid for that or not. That's who I am. Like, that's what I am doing with my life. And I just want to help people learn that self-perception really changes everything for you. If you have a better self-perception, it really can change your destination.
Yes, absolutely. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So
I know that
what
was a little long-winded, but yes.
no, but like much needed.
Thank you.
So like what's one practical daily exercise they can start using to shift how they see themselves?
Okay, so this is actually something that I'm building out right now. I just created a whole bunch of introspection journals. It started off with just one. And on this one, I was only going to make maybe about like 12 introspection questions per kind of like topic. So it's like the first topic was like identity. And the first question in there is, who are you, without, like your titles and your roles. But what I ended up doing was I extrapolated it. So I ended up turning that one guide into 31 questions. And then it's like, once I did that, I was like, I think I need to make 11 more guides so that this is like an entire year-long introspection journal pack. So I recently created that. I don't know if it's going to be available yet, when this podcast comes out, but doing introspection work is super helpful. Really just like one of the easiest things you could do is whenever you catch yourself, like, what's going on here? Keep asking yourself why. Why am I doing this? Why am I feeling this way? Why is this happening? And then you'll eventually dig down to like the core reasoning of everything. But yeah, as far as daily practice, just ask yourself why certain things in your life, like why you're doing these things. Like, what is it to you? What's the main purpose? Why is this beneficial to you? Why you enjoy doing things? And that's going to get you automatically on the right path. But once my introspection journals come out, I think that's going to help a lot of people. So I'm super excited to get those built out. Those will be out soon. And hopefully they'll be out by the time this podcast episode comes out.
Yeah. And that makes it so tangible. Like,
Yeah.
change doesn't start with grand gestures.
It's just,
No, please.
a lot of times we think that, a lot of times we think that we have to do something big in order to create a big change. And it really isn't. It's actually kind of the reverse. It's like you kind of have to just reflect on yourself. And that is what really creates lasting change, because doing these kind of like life hacks or whatever, they might stick for a week, but if you're really, not sticking to it, like it's not going to hang on. Like I can't tell you how many times I tried forming new habits and it just didn't work.
Yeah, makes sense. It starts with like small, consistent acts of like self-recognition.
Yeah. And it takes more than just affirmations also. Affirmations have their place, but I always found affirmations didn't really work for me. So it's like the daily ritual of looking in the mirror and saying, I'm handsome or I'm beautiful, like I kept feeling like I was lying to myself. So here's an extra little nugget that could help everyone who's listening to this episode. What I ended up starting to do is I kind of reframed affirmations and I formed what I call active affirmations. So the way that I started getting affirmations to work for me is I still said, the affirmation. So even if it's just like, I'm handsome or I'm good looking or I'm beautiful, I would say that 3 times. And then normally by the 3rd time, I'm just like, okay, I kind of don't believe this. Then what I do is I tell myself ways in which it kind of proves it. So I look back at my past and it's like, no, it's like that person at the grocery store said I was looking really good. Or, like the person at work said, my hair was looking great. So it's like, once you start reframing it in that way, then the affirmation actually sticks and then it actually works. So if you're just like me and you started, telling yourself affirmations in the mirror and you just feel like a complete fraud and you're lying to yourself, back it up with actual proof and the affirmation will stick and work.
That's amazing. So Gregory reminds us that self-perception is the lens through which we live our lives. Shift the lens and everything changes. His work proves that healing isn't about quick fixes, but about being willing to see yourself differently. Maybe for the first time. So here's the invitation. Start today by noticing one thing you can appreciate about yourself. That's how new stories and new lives begin.